two executive presentations coming up. First one here is with Debika Bhattacharya, who is Verizon Business's Chief Product Officer. She is also a member of the MEF's Board of Directors, and she's going to be talking to us about how NaaS is a foundation for business agility. So come on, Debika.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Been hearing about NaaS for all the morning. So what I'm going to talk about today is where Verizon stands with NaaS. As Erin mentioned, I'm Debika Bhattacharya. I'm the Chief Product Officer for Verizon Business. So I own the product strategy and portfolio for our B2B segment. And this includes global enterprise, public sector, small and medium business, as well as our wholesale partners. And we've been on the NaaS journey for a few years now, so I'll talk about what we've done, what we've learned, and how we are evolving. I'm also from Philadelphia, so I'm in enemy territory here, especially so close to Cowboy Stadium, so I was thinking whether I would carry some Eagles swag, but I haven't. But to start, let's think back to where we were in 2020, and that's when Verizon launched our enterprise network as a service offering. So in a very short amount of time, enterprises had to change completely. The users went home, their traffic patterns changed dramatically in a very short amount of time. And what we found was that customers who had invested in automation, who had invested in SD-WAN, who had invested in cloud, or SaaS providers were able to adapt much more quickly than others. So our customers who had been on this journey already realized that you could use your networks to work for you if your networks were built for agility. So agility became very important, not just because for the next pandemic, but in response to market dynamics, in response to new competition, in response to them just being able to have the business agility. You couldn't do that if you did not have the network as a platform for innovation. So we started asking a question to our customers back in 2020 when they took a whole new perspective to their networks and what their networks could do for you. Here's the question we asked. What if you could have a better network? What if you could have a programmable, modernized network that allows you to optimize resources, enable new levels of agility, and you can focus on your core business while simplifying your operations? So let's talk about that. How would that move your business forward? So if you didn't view your network as limiting, as fixed, as just doing what you had designed it to do 5 years ago, how could you move your business forward? And that's what Network as a Service for Verizon was back 3 years ago when we launched our service. So programmable, modernized, new levels of agility, and simplifying operations. So our first enterprise NaaS customer is a US drugstore with 9,000 locations across the country. And they were trying to solve this very problem. They did not want to be focused on the network. They did not want to worry about technology obsolescence. They wanted a partner who would give them what they need at each of their 9,000 sites and give them the most current technology stack. So that's how Network as a Service for Verizon was born. Now I have to tell you, we had forward-looking CIOs, but one of the things we learned is the challenges is on the procurement side. For many of our customers, the procurement organizations have really mastered the art of buying networks. You buy hardware, you buy a certain amount of circuit bandwidth, and then you buy managed services. and they had optimized the buying process. And this was completely different. It was a different way of procuring network services, which was something that many of our customers' procurement organizations had to live through. But then on our side as well, on the service provider side, we had to change. At first, some people said, oh, this is just a marketing thing. I heard people earlier say, it's just a commercial, it's just a commercial thing you do. You're selling the same thing, you're just putting a bow on it and making it look different. And we realized that, no, it's not. For us to sell network as a service, we have to change things on the back end, which is we now have unified service descriptions. We changed our SLAs. And how do you define NaaS-based SLAs, not the traditional telco SLAs? And then we created NaaS bundles so that we don't oversell what it is that we could do. So those were some of the learnings that we've gained over the years as we started selling NaaS to our customers. So it's learning on the customer side, understanding what you can get, making sure you have the right procurement and contract capabilities, the right technology capabilities, and then learnings on the service provider side to be able to actually deliver what we said we would. So this slide actually, I think, I wouldn't say network topologies today, I would say network topologies of yesterday are perimeter focused and enterprise-centric. But what our customers are telling us now that they want is more current tech stack. They don't want to be tied into a technology that is changing much more rapidly than they might have envisioned. So they want to be able to outsource the tech stack to us. Simplified operating models, whether it's dynamic networks, it's centralized management, they want to simplify the operation. So these are the requirements they come to us. Sometimes customers don't come to us and say, I want NaaS. What they come to us and say, these are some of the things I want, and you give me the service that best meets that requirement. And the service and response is network as a service for us. Commercial terms are part of the equation here. And one of the things we've learned is sometimes people equate NaaS with consumption-based pricing. At Verizon, we've learned that's not necessarily the case. We have some customers who have some CapEx. There are others who wanted pure OpEx models. There are some who want it back-ended. As they do the initial transformation, they want a certain pricing structure, but a different structure at the back-end years of the contract. Our approach is that it's flexible. We separate the costs of building out that network from the price and be able to commercially engineer it so it meets a customer demand. So it's not that it's consumption-based or not consumption-based. It could be pay-as-you-go, not pay-as-you-go. It's really aligned to the flexibility that the customer is asking for. And then digital enablement is critical. I think we've heard others talk about it and digital through the life cycle, not just being able to order, but how do you order? How do you have the right level of visibility? How can you ensure that through API exposure, you're actually making the best use of your network? So Verizon's NaaS is focused on 4 pillars. One is ubiquitous access. And we're moving more and more to wireless-based networks as we look at fixed wireless access. One of the areas of concern was it takes forever to build out networks. That is certainly true, especially for high bandwidth circuits, but a lot of our customers, especially with NaaS, they're looking at where they have hundreds, if not thousands of sites. And in many cases, fixed wireless access, which could be turned up in days, if not less, is what fits the bill. Embedded security. Like now, sometimes I joke with my team, I say, embedded security is like buying a car. You never ask for brakes in the car. It comes with it. It's assumed. Many of our customers want that assumed. We never think of network. We never think of network without integrating security into it because it is so critical to our customers that the days of when you think about network and security separately, I think are past. We talked about analytics. Here's, I'll use this example with our first NaaS customer. Of course, we've had many more since then, and our NaaS customers now are global. When it comes to analytics, they had multiple technologies. They had SD-WAN. They had fixed wireless access, so they had cradle point routers. They used Verizon's wireless network. We were giving them a lot of data. Each of these technology towers had analytics that we produced, but they couldn't tell if the stores were operational or how their application was going to perform. So what we really needed is intelligent analytics across multiple technology layers, and that's what NaaS does. It's not component by component, which over the years we've gotten very good at, is selling a piece of hardware, you'll get analytics from that. One service, you'll get analytics from that. That is not going to be helpful in a NaaS environment. So we built analytics across towers so our customers could see what their application performance was, what the end user experience was, as opposed to getting a lot of data for each component of what they procured. And then finally, managed services, which is ensuring that as we run their service, the operational aspect of it, we are proactive in finding faults, making sure that we are working with our partners in closing tickets. So these are the four main pillars of our NaaS solution. So once again, as we talk to our customers about NaaS, and I think this was mentioned in the previous panel, we really want to talk about their business imperatives. Like, where is their business going? And one size doesn't fit all. And there might be some customers for whom the traditional way of buying networks will suffice. And that is fine too. Verizon, along with many of our partners here, many of the other service providers, will continue to provide network on an a la carte basis. And if that works for you, there's really no reason for a service provider to impose a certain kind of technology or service. It's always outside in. It's what works best for the customer. But for those customers who operate in a dynamic environment, for those customers who want to view their infrastructure as a platform for innovation, for those customers who don't want to be locked into a certain network architecture that they have a lot of difficulty getting out of, that is where network as a service is the solution for them. Because what network as a service does, it gives you the agility. It gives you commercial agility, it gives you platform agility, and it gives you the agility from a digital standpoint to be able to have the right level of insights and understanding. Now, a couple things I'll say before I wrap. First, NaaS is a journey, and we are very clear with our customers that we don't want to oversell. That's why we have our NaaS bundles, very clear what you get, what you do not get, and as we add new services like multi-cloud into it, we add that to our bundles. So being transparent about what NaaS does cover and does not cover, being very clear in the contractual aspects are all critical to being successful with NaaS. But what we do believe is that over time, this is going to become the new method of procurement of network services. Because once again, you'll now be able to buy network services that will work for you instead of limiting you to what you had previously. So with that, I'm out of time, so I'm going to wrap. Thank you again. Thank you for your time, and looking forward to meeting and speaking with all of you.